34 minutes past the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Arthur Brooks. I'm guest hosting today for the great Hugh Hewitt, and this is the Hugh Hewitt Show. Well, I got a great friend I have to introduce to you right now. This is Jim Towey, and if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because you probably knew him as the head of the Faith-Based Initiatives Office in the George W. Bush White House. He's had a really great career. Before that, believe it or not, he was Mother Teresa's lawyer. Mother Teresa, my friends, had a lawyer. And now he's the president of Ave Maria University. I want to talk to Jim today in advance of something we're going to talk about a little bit later. Something we're going to talk about that's really important with respect to fighting for people, particularly people who are vulnerable to big government, vulnerable to the predations of what's going on in this country. You there, Jim?
I sure am, Arthur. Thanks for having me on.
It's a delight to have you on. It's great to talk to you, my friend. What's it like to be Mother Teresa's lawyer?
Well, she liked to sue people. No, I'm kidding. She was a delight because she had such great judgment, and she most of the work was just to help her sisters come into America under our immigration laws or permitting issues when she was opening AIDS homes, but also helping with protecting the use of her name because she prohibited fundraising. And for me, as a university president, we don't have quite that much faith that she had. You know?
She prohibited fundraising. Well, I know you don't prohibit fundraising now because you're the president of Ave Maria University in Florida. Tell us just for a couple of seconds about Ave Maria.
Sure, it's in its 10th year. So it's a startup from Tom Monahan, who founded Domino's Pizza and made a fortune there, and took his wealth when he sold the company and put it out here in this area near Naples, where we've got this beautiful campus and these state-of-the-art buildings, and now we're going to have about 1,000 students on campus this fall, which is exciting for such a young university. But he built it well, and it's a Catholic liberal arts college with 23 majors, and so we're excited about how quickly it's grown, and Tom Monahan really put his money where his faith is, and we're primarily Catholic students, but we're open to students of all faiths, and they're coming, and we're getting big numbers, and that's nice.
That's great. Now, I didn't ask you to come on the show just so we could do an ad for Ave Maria University, although it's a good thing to do, too. The reason I'm asking you to come on is something we're going to be talking about throughout the show, which is reminding Americans of what was going on in the religious conscience debate surrounding the HHS mandate. For those of you who don't remember, on the 20th of December 2012, HHS Secretary, Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius announced that all private insurance plans were going to have to cover free of charge contraceptives, sterilization services, and abortifacient drugs. Now, for a lot of Americans who don't have strong views on this, they just kind of shrug their shoulders. But for a lot of Americans whose conscience says, particularly in the case of abortifacient drugs, that this is unacceptable, something had to be done. And one of those people was you, Jim. Fill us in on the rest of the story.
Well, we went to court right away because we felt that this was a violation of our First Amendment rights and a violation of the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act. And so we felt the government, here they are coming in telling us to violate our conscience and provide sterilization services, abortifacient drugs, and others things under our health plan. But the Obama administration struggled so hard to kind of jam this agenda through the process, through the regulatory process. They kept getting it wrong. They kept trying to amend their regulations. But what they didn't change at all was how they defined religious organizations. They defined it so narrowly that it didn't include groups like Ave Maria. Well, Tom Monahan founded this place to be proudly Catholic, and we're proudly espousing the teachings of the Catholic Church. You may not agree with them, but you would certainly respect our right to do that. And so we are in a fight with the federal government over these regulations because we think it abridges our religious liberty.
Where does the case stand today, and why should folks still be paying attention to it? It's easy for Americans to say, man, that's old news. Why is that not old news?
It's not old news because there are a number of federal lawsuits throughout the country that are going forward. Hobby Lobby, a private employee who said, hey, when did I check my faith at the door when I put my private resources into my own business? I ought to be able to decide what my health plan looks like. The federal government just wants to, like I said, start this. I wrote this somewhere, Arthur, where I described them as contraception stamps, basically an entitlement. But this one isn't even means tested. Anyone gets this free of charge. So a lot of lawsuits are moving forward. We expect this. It'll get to the Supreme Court. And Ave Maria University, we filed our lawsuit initially. The federal court said come back after the regulations are final. The final regs came out. They're unacceptable, and we're working with the Beckett Fund for Religious Liberty, and we're going to be back in court against the Obama administration because we can't live with this second-class treatment within religious organizations. They say, well, if you're a church, you're okay, but anything outside of the church, we don't count as a religious organization. That is a break with American history. It's a break with any Republican or Democratic administration, and to me, it smells of an agenda being pushed on the American people.
Smells like that to me too, Jim. Tell us how we can learn more about Ave Maria.
If you go to avemaria.edu, you can learn all about what we're doing on our campus, and you expect to find us back in court soon, Arthur. We'll be there, and thanks for having us on.
God bless you, Jim. God bless your work. That's Jim Towey, president of Ave Maria University. Next up, one of my favorite politicians, Steve Sutherland, second District of Florida. Stay tuned, folks. I'm Arthur Brooks. This is the Hugh Hewitt Show.